I know that as a country, it's very difficult for people to believe that racism and misogyny, they're just alive and well. I think that we don't want to think that about ourselves, our neighbors, our friends, but it's my lived experience tells me that it does still exist, even if your lived experience doesn't tell you that it exists. And, you know, the facts support that. I think we have a graph. If you look at there's a clear racial divide in who voted for Trump as opposed to who voted for Kamala Harris. It's very clear. It's not only clear by race, but it's also clear by education. And so the notion somehow that that is not true, this is by education. Those who attended college voted for her at a higher degree than those that didn't.
But I think you're missing his point.
Let me just finish. And so I've said that before, and there was so much backlash because I think it's an uncomfortable, inconvenient truth about this country.
But his whole point is they didn't vote for him because of racism and misogyny. They voted for him because they felt like, I think the biggest common denominator in this election is people want a good life and ability to provide for their family.
Well,
and whether we agree or not with Donald Trump's plans,
Black people
they thought that he was reflective.
One of the poorest demographics in this country, but they voted for Kamala Harris.
But there was a split, and more of them voted for Donald Trump than had historically. I think that there's such a desire. If you really think the vast majority of this country voted because of racism and misogyny, you're missing it. Most of my family, a lot of my family doesn't have college degrees.
But the stats are the stats.
But that's not, it doesn't say I'm white, I voted for Donald Trump because of racism. That's not what stat. What stat are you talking about?
You can't dissect the two.
Yes, you can.
Wait. Hold on. Calm down. Everybody just take a breath.
I mean, for somebody who went to law school and consistently touts that they're college educated, Sunny is an imbecile. I mean, there's a ton of things wrong with her statement. Number one, she said that, well, sexism and racism is true in my lived experience, even though it might not be true for yours. That's the whole problem with this my truth crap, is it's her opinion. That doesn't make it true. It doesn't mean that racism and sexism are systemically prevalent and widespread. That would be like me saying starving is not my lived experience, so therefore nobody else starves around the world. I mean, it's just narcissistic and it's simple-minded to make a statement like that, especially from somebody who consistently touts how smart they are. And the next, she proves she doesn't even understand what statistics are or how to use statistics to justify an argument. Just because white people voted more for Trump than Kamala doesn't mean therefore white people are racist or the reason for their vote is racist. Unless she's making the blanket statement, which I'm sure she believes, that all white people are racist. But again, her argument would just break down and crumble if you peeled back a few layers and you looked at certain subsets of white people who did vote more for Kamala Harris than Trump. And it also works in reverse. Her graph just showed that the majority of Hispanics voted for Kamala Harris, but in the segment I just played about the town that's 90% Hispanic that voted 75% Trump, she said the reason for that was racism and misogyny. So her arguments consistently contradict themselves, and then she also doesn't know how to deduce what the information that she's even trying to convey to back up her point is saying or even means.